really to celebrate. New Doctor, new companion, lots of celebrations of lots of Doctor Who.
The Proms audience is going to go ballistic, so I'm really looking forward to it.
To play this stuff to thousands of people, the joy on people's faces, sharing in moments they've loved, being thrilled by the monsters. It's a really joyous thing.
It's going to get people really excited. I think it's going to make people emotional. Sometimes it's terrifying, but in the best way.
I think there's going to be some cheers, there's going to be some screaming. There's going to be some feeling of nostalgia from a lot of the people in the audience.
I know how much this show means to so many people around the world, and like you can feel it. Everyone's so excited.
The soundtracks are what makes Doctor Who Doctor Who.
I grew up with this music, and so to be a part of bringing it to life again in this really special place, yeah, it's a pretty amazing moment.
Every time I start singing and rehearsing, I get the goosebumps.
Inside, my 10-year-old self is absolutely bubbling.
Hoping to see Catherine Tate because she's always amazingly funny.
Stop it!
This music is designed to hit the back row. It's big music with big melodies. The communal experience of it, being with those fans and seeing the excitement, it's just a brilliant experience.
convention. What a way to open the show. Look at you people standing. Look at you, hello! Hello, look at you, look at you, look at you. And up there, and up there, and up there. A very warm welcome to the Doctor Who prom. I'm Catherine Tate, and I am also Donna Noble in Doctor Who. You are in for a spectacular sonic treat today. Oh yes, we're gonna have a dabba-doo time. We just heard 15, performed by the BBC National Orchestra of Wales. Leader Leslie Hatfield with Lenny Sayers on bass clarinet, David Miller on baritone sax, the London Philharmonic Choir, all conducted by Alistair King and featuring the stunning voice of soprano Aida Garofulina. Like so much of the music in today's prom, was written by Doctor Who legend Murray Gold. Who returned to the series last year for the 60th anniversary specials and most recent season. Murray Gold and Segun Akinola, composer of the 13th Doctor's era, are in the audience today. Together with former showrunner Stephen Moffat and returning showrunner Russell T Davies. Where are they? Woo! Feel the love, people. Unbelievably, it is 11 years since Doctor Who was last seen at the proms, and so much has happened since then. 3 more Doctors for a start, including the first female Doctor. Yes. And then, last November, that face returned. Mine. Stop it! With music from Star Beast and the Giggle, this is the Doctor, Donna and the Toymaker. My generation. Who would have known? One thing is for certain, that there is a brand new face flying the TARDIS, and with him, a new companion. Mirroring the Doctor's own story, she's also a foundling with a mystery to solve. So are you ready to be transported on a musical adventure? Well, there's lucky, because we're going to take you on a ride in the TARDIS with the Doctor and Ruby Sunday, travelling to a futuristic space station where every child's worst nightmare is lurking in the shadows. Ominous! Then on to Regency England and an encounter with shape-shifting Cholders, not to mention a charismatic bounty hunter. Yes! Yes! Featuring music from Space Babies and Rogue, this is Into the Vortex.
but something much older and far more powerful. I'm a lord of time, from a lost and fallen planet of Gallifrey. Now let me go, bounty hunter. We have work to do.
Attention! Albert Hall, London, UK, planet Earth. I am the Blink Static X-Form Robo Neuro Active Form designation number 5576. But you can call me the Blinks. Hello! I said hello! Thank you. And it is my greatest function to introduce a very special guest. Human beings, please welcome the Doctor.
Hello! Hello there, Royal Albert Hall. Okay, look at you.
Emergency! Emergency! The Albert Hall is being invaded. Save yourselves, because here comes the Pantheon of Discord.
Maestro, the god of music. And music is mine! Oh, scream all you like. Yeah, you tiny little human pimples. 'Cause the doctor can't stop me this time. My powers are vast and godlike, and my hairstyle is exquisite, don't you think? And now I have an orchestra in the world's finest auditorium, and I will feast, because I know that when humans hear bad music, it creates a dissonance in your heads. Yeah, dissonance. Get me in my fancy vocabulary, chickadees. Dissonance! And that pain becomes food and drink for me. Now you will suffer, and I will grow in power as I command this orchestra to play the world's worst song ever! That's right, boys and girls and everyone. It's your all-time least favorite song, I've Got a Dog! And the one... tasty, more.
My dog, he's called Fred. My dog is alive, he's not dead. I love my dog, he loves me too. I haven't got a cat, only a dog. My dog,
Excuse me. I am feasting after all.
Emergency message from the Doctor. He recommends that everyone starts clapping immediately. Human beings must clap.
The applause. It is music to my ears. Everyone should adore me.
The Doctor has an astute grasp of logic, because applause takes place only when the music has stopped. Therefore, clapping will cancel out Maestro's powers. Recommendation, applause from all. Don't just clap, stand up, cheer.
No.
Stop your feet. Make a lot of noise!
No! Stop! I'm begging you!
Go crazy!
No! Stop, please! I'm going
to... Operation Maestro, a complete success. Congratulations!
And don't forget, Maestro is so raw, there is no bad music. If it's an orchestra, or a band, or the wind in the trees, or your next door neighbor singing in the shower, music is beautiful. And the god of music has no power over you, because music belongs to everyone. the amazing human race, sailing through the cosmos and singing to the stars forever. Love you. Bye-bye.
whizzing about. It's really very distracting. Could you all just stay still a minute? Because I am talking! Now, the question of the hour is, who's got Pandorica? Answer, I do. Next question, who's coming to take it from me? Come on! Look at me! No plan, no backup, no weapons worth a damn. Oh, and something else I don't have. Anything to lose. So, if you're sitting up there in your silly little spaceship with all your silly little guns, and you've got any plans on taking the Pandorica tonight, just remember who's standing in your way. Remember, every black day I ever stopped you, and then, do the smart thing. Let somebody else try first.
quite like a full-on monster invasion to get the pulse racing. That was I Am the Doctor, the unforgettable theme for the 11th Doctor, played by the magnificent Matt Smith for 10 points. Later, we will hear a collection of iconic themes written for the Doctor's companions. For now, we are going to hear music from the most recent season and the beautiful waltz theme written by Murray Gold for the Doctor's latest companion. Oh gosh, sorry. It is Ruby Sunday, thank you. Obviously, I nearly said Ruby Tuesday. Sorry. I'm rambling. Come on, they're paying me by the hour. I guess we all know it was Ruby Sunday. Sorry, from the Devil's Chord, this is The Life of Sunday. BBC National Orchestra of Wales, conducted by Alistair King and featuring Catherine Rowe Williams on piano. That was The Life of Sunday, and it brings us to the final piece in the first half of the Doctor Who prom. I mean, it's flown by, hasn't it, sir? First heard in January 2010 in The End of Time, Validecum was written to accompany the 10th Doctor's regeneration. After wiping Donna's memories to save her life and saying his final farewells, the Doctor is visited by an ood as he reluctantly says goodbye. To sing Validecum, please welcome back our wonderful soloist, Aida Garafolina.
enemy of the Daleks. Conductor, step down from the platform. Orchestra, choir, you are now all servants of the Daleks and must exit the stage immediately or you will be exterminated. Audience, behold the might of the Daleks. You must all remain standing and await further music or be exterminated. Exterminate! Exterminate! Exterminate!
Today I am dressing up some monsters.
I'm going to be looking after the Jadoon and Cyber Masters.
I'm going to dress up the Myers, which is a costume that we made over 10 years ago, so I'm having to remember how to put it all together again.
5-minute call. This is 5-minute call for the Ood. I'm going to be pushing them out into the world and saying, go and be mad and cause some chaos.
I'm a massive Doctor Who nerd. Every time that I get to do anything with Doctor Who's, it's always a fun time.
This is my friend here. So I am the Jadoon captain this time, so it's a great venue, great orchestra. It's going to be fantastic.
Everyone wants to be a Dalek, I think. I was scared of them as a kid, hiding behind the sofa, all the cliches. So to actually be one, I had to pinch myself constantly. You just have to make sure you don't knock anyone over. If I crash into the conductor, that would be wrong. But if I take out a few bassoonists, that's okay.
I've done pretty much every incarnation of the Cyberman. It's such a pleasure to wear one of these iconic costumes. I think people don't realise how much fun it can be. Although they are villainous, people do adore them. So if someone wants to give me a cuddle, they can.
My name's Paul Casey, and I'm the movement director for the Doctor Who Proms. We have a lot of Doctor Who characters. All the characters have very precise movement.
We just choose a certain point where both of you will go.
There's, limited vision, limited hearing. There's a lot of stairs involved in the auditorium, so it's working out the stairs and how many steps they need and what their journeys are. It's very complex, but as we move forward, we make it look very easy.
This is my first time doing the proms. I'm very excited. I am ready to be very slimy, be very creepy, scare a few babies mainly, because Bogeyman. If you've seen the episode, you know. But yeah, just be very creepy and just snot about.
We're peg dolls, so yeah, we're not as scary as we look. They're a bit weird, but we're not that weird.
We're all right, aren't we?
We're all right.
We work as a team to kind of rely on each other to know where we're going down the steps.
Yeah,
as
you
well
don't
as
want to fall
interacting.
over on like an audience member's lap or anything.
Oh no, that's a fear. That's the worst.
Yeah.
I think that's what's lovely about doing the live shows, is that you do get that instant interaction, that instant feedback with the music as well, which is just incredible. I'm often behind my mask, with tears, to the music, because it just moves me. It moves me so much.
There we go. Can't see a thing. Very hot. Motors all around my head. Yeah, that's showbiz. It's great.
One of the hardest things to try and describe is the amount of energy inside the arena, in the stalls, and the joy for Doctor Who. The audience and how much they love it, and celebrating the music. It's phenomenal.
talk. I want you to remember that. I tried to reach out. I tried to understand you, but I think that you understand us perfectly.
I think that you just don't care. And I don't know whether you're here to invade or just replace us. I don't suppose it really matters now. You are monsters! That is the role you seem determined to play, so it seems that I must play mine. The man that stops the monsters. I'm sending you back to your own dimension. Who knows? Some of you may even survive the trip. And if you do, remember this. You are not welcome here. This plane is protected. I am the Doctor.
Was a good man. The music that accompanied the 12th Doctor, played, of course, by the brilliant Peter Capaldi. Another 10 points. It featured vocals by Lucy Jones, and let us hear it again for the amazing orchestra, the BBC National Orchestra of Wales and the London Philharmonic Choir. Time now for more music, and we are going to hear some of Murray Gold's most beautiful themes brought together in the Companions Suite. First, a new piece written for the most recent season, from the haunting and unsettling 73 Yards to the tense battlefield drama of Boom, and finishing with the devastating closing scene from Dot and Bubble. This is 73 Yards to Find Time. fabulous Jodie Whittaker taking control of the TARDIS, and Chris Chibnall taking the reins as showrunner. Segun Akinola also arrived as composer with a different sound and approach. And it is the 13th Doctor we are going to celebrate next, with music from The Woman Who Fell to Earth, Spyfall, Demons of the Punjab, and The Power of the Doctor, featuring Holly Buhaya and Shahid Abbas Khan on vocals. This is Segun Akinola's The 13th Doctor. Of Aida Garapolina. That was Abigail's song written by Murray Gold for Stephen Moffat's 2010 Christmas special, A Christmas Carol. And hold on to your Cybermen hats, because we have got another Stephen Moffat Christmas treat. Oh, hello. Hello. Yeah.
Hi. Hello, you lot. Oh, what's the matter? Never seen a prom before? All right, I'm going to put this down now, because I think it stopped snowing. Oh, look, we've got this big, beautiful orchestra. Hiya! Hi, hi. Oh, they're sweet. Yeah, particularly him. You know, the last time that I went to a concert was, 1986. Yeah. I saw Queen. Have you heard of them? Yeah. Not bad, are they? Bit noisy. Anyway, my name is Mrs. Flood. Yeah, that's my name, true and proper, so don't argue. I mean, you do believe me, don't you? Oh, dissension in the ranks. I mean, what else would I be? Some outer space villain in disguise? No, don't make me laugh. I'm just a nice, quiet, friendly soul. Which is more than I can say for my neighbours. I tell you, the girl upstairs calls herself Ruby. Ruby Sunday. Yeah, pretty girl. And I've seen her. I've seen her going to and fro with that mysterious man, you know, with the funny blue box. And I thought to myself, hello. What's happening here then? I mean, what is the truth? You know, sometimes I hear whispers on the breeze, telling me stories, amazing tales, like this one. Ladies and gentlemen, the legend of Ruby Sunday.
Because I pride myself. I pride myself that I am better than you. Because if you're dead, then I must represent life. Surely that's what I am. Life. And that's how you win, Sutek. Because you turned me into this. I am the one that brings death. Your life is out there now. I've shown you monsters and planets, legends, but this, honey, your adventure is just beginning.
Will I ever see you again?
Of course you will. Of course you will. Because you changed me. I talk about family in a way that I never did before. It's because of you. You have made my life bigger and better. And now, Ruby Sunday. Goodbye.
BBC, National Orchestra of Wales, London Philharmonic Choir, organist Anna Lapwood. Holly Buhaya on vocals, conducted by Alistair King. That was Murray Gold's epic score for Russell T Davies's thrilling season finale. And sadly, we have almost come to the end of this Doctor Who prom. I know. But I also know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Time for one more. Is there time for one more? Amazing. Well, when you have the greatest theme tune in all of time and space, there really is only one way to end a Doctor Who prom. Written by Ron Grainer back in 1963 and brought to life so unforgettably by Delia Derbyshire in the BBC's legendary Radiophonic Workshop. We are going to hear it now. Reimagined by Murray Gold for 2024. Oh yes! Enjoy!
There is one thing that I should warn you about, Ruby, and this is really very serious. With all my adventures throughout time and space, I have to tell you, there's always a twist.
There's always a twist, there's always a twist, there's always a twist at the end. There's always a twist, there's always a twist, there's always a twist at the end. My friend, let's back, 'cause there's always a twist at the end. We got the pop and the rock and the Lindy Hop. We got the job behind and the staying alive. We got the fun and the salsa and the mighty big bumper. Bumps and smokes and the pennies and balls. There's always a twist, there's always a twist, there's always a twist at the end.
Lucy Jones. Tobias Turley. Our amazing dancers and performers. The one and only Anita Dobson. The spectacular Aida Garifulina. Shahid Abiz Khan. Holly Buhaya. Organist Anna Lapwood. The BBC National Orchestra of Wales with their leader, Leslie Hatfield. London Philharmonic Choir with their chorus director, Tori Longden. Conductor, Alistair King. And please welcome Murray Gold and Segun Akinola. You have been glorious. Thank you so much and good night.